Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and ascension forecast for Sunday, January 12th to Saturday, January 18th. Okay, so let's talk about last week. First of all, Mars retrograded back into the Cancer energy on the 6th, which happened to be the exact same day that we had the first quarter moon popping off in Aries energy that, of course, Mars rules over. So first of all, Mars kind of creeping back into that Cancer energy has brought up all of the feels. Now, there's a lot of emotion coming to the surface, especially in a aggressive, anger, frustration type of form, in order for us to realize where it is that we can't do certain things in the way that we've been doing them anymore. Okay. Now, it doesn't feel good. Mars does not enjoy being retrograde, let alone retrograde in Cancer energy, because again, not only can't he make the moves out in the external realm like he would prefer to be doing, but now he actually has to look inward. He has to examine his emotions. He has to examine his drive, his fuel. He has to really take a good look at what is working, what isn't, and therefore really kind of understand where a new foundation and structure is needed, especially to nurture and nourish ourselves to make sure that we have the emotional stability in our inner realm while everything is falling apart, of course, in our outer realm. And that does not feel good. That first quarter moon was a time of action or decision. It was a boiling point, a breaking point to help us realize where it is that a major change has to take place, where we have to do something about it in order for us to break away from the situation and circumstances that, of course, we've already identified no longer working for us. So to have that kind of tension building up in one way and then the tension pulling us back into the past the other way, it's no wonder that we're feeling a little bit jaded, a little bit torn, especially in two different paths, two different directions. Of course, we had a little bit of help when Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, moved into that Capricorn energy on the 8th. And of course, we were just happy to get out of the Sagittarius energy. Not because Sagittarius energy is bad, but of course, we were in that Sag energy for a very long time due to Mercury's retrograde. Now that Mercury's in Capricorn energy, first of all, things are a little bit more quiet, hella serious, super somber, a little bit negative, I would say, just because our mental planes are analyzing at such a very high rate of what is working and what is not, what we need to let go of, what we need to remove, what we have to do differently in order to start building towards the goal, the vision, the dream that at this particular juncture we're actually super confused about. And so again, it kind of pulls us inward in order to really analyze the things that we actually have power and control over. And we're analyzing where it is that our mental plane is having a hard time kind of flipping the script, where it is that it's so easy to fall into past patterns and past behaviors. Again, that Capricorn energy, very rooted into the past, very connected to tradition, to familiarity, and to keeping things the same. Of course, it is a cardinal energy. So unless we're presented with actual factual data and proof that a change has to be made, our natural default program is to go back to that negative ass narrative, to that self-sabotaging behavior, and to the pessimistic kind of perspective that, of course, we adopt in that Capricorn energy. We have one more event taking place here this week before we kind of wrap up the energy of the week, which, of course, is taking place here on the 11th. Now, again, I'm going to say you'll be surprised to hear that I actually feel like this 11/11 date is actually important and actually significant. You know, I'm not one for portals. However, the nodes of the moon, which represent our karmic lessons, are shifting here on January 11th, which I seem to think is a highly magical, highly potent manifesting energy. Now, there's not very many people out there that are feeling very good, very hot, very positive right now. And that's because we're sitting at this 0 degree of Aries energy. We've been going through the ringer for the last 18 months, and we are about to shift out of this 0 degree, which is just as jolting as the 29th critical crisis karmic degree that, of course, we're going to be moving into here when the nodes of the moon shift into this Pisces and Virgo axis. So there's a jittery energy, edgy energy, breakdown, breakthrough energy taking place in the collective and therefore affecting us as individuals at this particular point in time. But I still think that it brings a little bit of magic to this manifesting state in which we're in, still being under the influence of that new moon in Capricorn. Side note, if you haven't downloaded the moon guide for this particular lunar cycle, I'm going to recommend you do so, because we're just days away from that full moon in Cancer, which I'll talk about here in a second. The nodal shift, I think, is going to be a huge adjustment period. And I know I talked about it in the 2025 year ahead reading. I did a mini course on the 2025 major astrology, and I actually just put out an astro class doing a hour-long deep dive in what this particular nodal shift is going to mean, not only for the collective, but for us as individuals, and where to find it in your chart and how to know whether your north node and this north node are going to be working well together and all of the things. This is a very important time, but any time that we have a shift in karma, we have a huge potentiality to not only remove and release a lot of the junk and gunk that is definitely coming up to the surface of our awareness, but to also put us in a very powerful state to get focused, mind, body, and soul, on what it is that we would prefer to be experiencing instead of the shit show that we're currently experiencing, and tap into the higher vibrations and frequencies of being able to manifest that desired outcome in a shorter period of time. So when I say to you that, yeah, it may be challenging to get your mind right, to get your heart right, to get your energy right, you're going to want to double down and really kind of test the ability that you have over your energy and hold the positive outcome, that positive narrative, and really hold that strong vision for that desired outcome as we move through this nodal shift taking place here tomorrow. So this week is going to kind of kick off under that nodal shift, which of course is going to be super intense for our emotions, for our energy, for our, let's call it, vision for the future. And then we move into the last week of Capricorn season that of course kicks off with a magical full moon in Cancer on a Monday that the moon rules over with her in her rulership on the 13th, which represents divine energy. So again, you can kind of see there that there are some magical aspects taking place, and we're connecting the dots to that magical situation and circumstance. And yes, it's going to be tough to maintain a positive mood and attitude through this full moon illumination of where it is that, emotionally speaking, our needs are not met. Whether or not we are expecting other people to fulfill the wounds, the voids within us, or whether or not we are just in situations where we're trying to, explain or ask for what it is that we haven't been getting, and therefore realizing that, guess what? Maybe this situation, this circumstance isn't for me any longer. When I say the full moon is a full illumination of hidden information and details that need to come to the surface in order for a breakdown, therefore breakthrough, to actually take place. Do we think that that's going to be rainbows and butterflies? I sure hope not. If you do think that sounds like rainbows and butterflies, you are going to be very disappointed. What I can say, though, and what I will go on a little bit of a rant about once I get kind of going here, is the fact that enough is enough, right? The foundation and the structure of how we've been operating in our inner realm and in our external realm, it's obviously not working. It's obviously not producing the kind of desired outcome in which we were hoping for, which means that adjustments, improvements, alterations definitely need to be made. We have to tweak some things. But what we're going to have in full perspective here is what isn't working, where it is that we're beating a dead horse, where it is that we are essentially rewiring the brain into insanity by doing the same thing over and over and over again, and again, expecting a different result. Of course, what we need to be doing is rewiring the brain in such a way to come out of our comfort zones and try new things and see how that energy kind of mirrors back to us, where we are making some changes, not only in our inner realm, but in our outer realm as well. And therefore, the foundation, the structure that we need to be strengthening within ourselves before we go ahead and start maneuvering everything outside in our external realm. We'll talk about that a little bit more once we get going here. But first, I have a couple of things that I would like to address, and I want to start by saying thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for liking, for sharing, for commenting, dropping beautiful emojis in the comment section below. I really appreciate that. It's really I'm going to say helping the channel, although at this point, the help is just keeping the channel alive. I don't know if y'all are still watching the numbers. I laugh each and every single day. I have been kind of around the 5,490 mark for, I think I'm going on like 2 months. And I know numbers aren't important, but man, I watch a whole wave of new people come into my channel and start commenting and start interacting. And then all of a sudden YouTube just removes like 10 different subscribers and just absolutely kicks the shit out of my algorithm. And then another huge wave of people come in and support and really push my content. And then again, YouTube comes in and shuts it back down. At this point, I'm laughing at it because, again, you hear me use the analogy of cha-cha-cha, like we're cha-cha-cha moving forward and then we're cha-cha-cha, we're moving back. Well, that's been going on my channel now because for some reason, YouTube does not want to see me move into the 5,500 zone. I don't know what they got against the 5.5. I think that's a very good indicator to me. Maybe they don't want me to have that indicator, but I'm laughing at this point because it's absolutely ridiculous what YouTube is doing to the algorithm, to the numbers, and specifically in this case to my channel. So I just want to say this in reminder to you that please subscribe. Most of the people here on my channel that are kind of, enjoying the content each and every day aren't even subscribed to the channel. I know that sounds super insignificant to you, but it's a huge deal to creators like myself. Please be subscribing to the channels that you are visiting each and every single day and enjoying the content from. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate all the help, all the support in all different ways in which it comes. And I just want to thank those of you that have actually abandoned YouTube and found me on other platforms. I'm growing slowly but surely on those other platforms as well. Of course, I'm always going to spotlight my Patreon because that's where my community is. That's where I post the most. That's where all my content, my time, my energy goes. And so for those of you that have kind of abandoned YouTube to even just be a, free content member over there, I want to thank you for that love and support. It definitely helps. And I thank you so much for it. I want to thank those of you that have jumped over not only to Patreon to become a patron over there, but those of you that are accessing my pay-per-view. Now, I'm gonna do a little bit of a homework sesh here about like what goes on behind the scenes. But basically, I am trying to build a similar type of membership type of community on my website. So if you go and visit energyboutique.ca, you will now see at the top of the screen the energy guide. That's a free guide, and that is going to give you a rundown on the energies of the day. It's going to include the videos that you're used to seeing, watching, listening to here on YouTube and other platforms. It's going to give you the mood of the day, the likely ascension symptoms of the day, how to take special care of yourself due to the energy of the day. I'm trying to bring that free resource back so that if you're confused, you don't need to sit around and waiting for a video to drop. And sometimes people don't like listening to videos. They'd rather just read it. Yes, I do post a whole lot more content on my Patreon, but for those of you that, are in a situation where you just can't join another membership or whatever the case may be, I want to create a space where you can come to my website, hit that energy guide, and see day by day how the energy is shifting. You are going to have accessibility to, I'm going to say, 2 days ahead. So you can kind of see the future and plan 2 days ahead for the energies or what have you. But my goal is to give you a solid place to go to when you're feeling out of whack, when you're feeling cray-cray, or when you're trying to make plans from 2 days from now and you want to see what's going on. If you're having ascension symptoms, to go there and just quickly be able to take a look and see what kind of energies are popping off and what to expect in the physical form. I want that to be there for you guys. So I am going to encourage you just to take a little bit of a walk-see over to that little place in the interweb, to visit that energy guide, to do a little bit of exploration there. I will be building on that, and I will be offering some discounted memberships so that those of you that are, actively downloading the monthly guides and downloading the moon guides, that gets quite pricey. That adds up really, really quick. And I want to make it more affordable for people to be doing the work. And so it's probably going to take me another week or so to kind of get that to where I want it to be. But even just over tapping into that energy guide and getting used to going over there on a daily to kind of keep yourself in check, that's a start. You'll see all of the other good things, all of the other fun things that I'm building through that energy guide as well. Heads up, and I'm not going to give too much information here, but I have a pretty big project in the works where I am bringing the community that has loved and supported me throughout the years to an actual place on the interweb where I have some beautiful people that run some beautiful businesses that nobody's ever heard of. And I think it's time I'm taking a position where I am going to start creating more of a community under the Energy Boutique, meaning here soon, and again, I'm not going to give all the details away, but I am going to start making a Spotlight community directory. I will be promoting small business owners or small healer providers, service providers, whatever it is that you want to do. I'm building towards making us a community that you can access and see what people have to offer and support the people that this community has basically been built from. And so I'm super excited about that. I got a lot of things on the go. I'm a little bit scatterbrained in case you haven't realized it as of yet. But I was too excited to not mention it, but also not prepared enough to kind of give you the highs, the lows, the everything in between. Secondary to that, which is going to kind of play in here over the next couple of weeks once I get going here, is that I have created a little bit of an opportunity to share some of the products that my beautiful community members have been pouring their time and energy into, and really kind of, helping everyone gain a little bit more business, more financial stability, more community for themselves. I feel like it's time that we kind of come together. You always hear me talking about linking arms and, moving forward energetically speaking, because us together is a lot stronger than us as individuals. Well, I've been doing this now for 15 years. And I've met some beautiful people, some talented people that should not be struggling in the way that they're currently struggling. And I'm not sure why it is that they're struggling. I would have to assume that, there's reasons for it. However, I'm at a position in my particular life right now where I want to create community, and I want to give back to those of you that have given the love and support day in, day out. I want to be able to spotlight the beautiful talent that we have in this community, and that's what I'm building towards. So definitely stay in alignment, stay in tune for that. I will be kind of releasing more and more information and prompting those of you that are interested in becoming part of that community directory and sharing some of your wisdom and talents with me so that I can share them with the world. All of that information will be coming, but I was too excited, too hyped up at this particular juncture to not share that with you. So I guess what I'm getting at is the best place to start is over on my website. Get on that Energy Boutique, get on that energy guide, be checking into it just to keep yourself in line. In turn, all you got to give up for that is your email address. And then from there, all of my VIP content, all of the new things that I'm working on, all of this community stuff, you're going to be learning through my newsletter. So that's my plug for that. I don't want to spend too much more time on talking about, what I'm doing behind the scenes and what I'm trying to build towards, but I'm hoping that that's going to help us all out. We're in a point, especially with the nodes of the moon shifting into this Pisces energy, where we all have to kind of focus on being of service to our community, to others. And being of service, in my mind, means I get to help other people while I'm helping myself. And if we can all get in that mindset and we all are genuinely interested in what other people have to offer the world, especially like the beautiful creativity coming out of these human vessels that just, the whole world should see these beautiful things that these beautiful people are making, and nobody seems to be seeing them. And so I'm hoping that, using the platforms that I've been able to grow, even though YouTube's, not really a help here, all of my other platforms combined, all of the reach that I have, I am now going to use that reach in order to bring this community together, in order to expose the beautiful things that this community is building individually and independently. We're bringing it together. And I'm hoping that aligning our energies and creating this beautiful grid work through the collective community that we're building is going to be a force of nature for all of us to kind of level up to do better within. So I'm super excited about that. I will definitely keep you guys posted about that, but I wanted to drop that little tidbit of information to get your wheels a turning, to really kind of see whether that's something that you're interested in. And of course, I will have more information on that in the coming of weeks. Okay, so with all that being said, let's talk about some energies. Let's talk about some ascension symptoms here. So the little mini rant that I want to go on at this particular juncture is that I want to remind you, first of all, we're going to be wrapping up the last week of Capricorn. Now, Capricorn season illuminates to us where it is that we're restricted, where it is that we're facing limitations, where it is that we're feeling held back, where it is that we're feeling trapped. Now, a lot of that is because Capricorn energy rules over structures and foundations in our materialistic realm. And as you've been hearing me talk, we have kind of built a little bit of a shit show. Don't know if you've noticed, take a good look around. We've built a little bit of a shit show out of the unconscious collective's energy. What does that mean? It means that the pain and the trauma and the wounds of what it means to be a human are currently in power. And us light workers have been here trying to hold it down to not let them have full power. And we're doing very good on the battlefield. May I remind you, it may not feel like that, but we're doing a pretty good job of being able to at least keep this game going here. And what we're attempting to do is to kind of flip the script, to take the power back, to bring the conscious collective, those that have activated their creator abilities through the healing journey, bring them into a position of leadership so that we can flip the script on this, let's call it limiting, restricting kind of hellhole that we have built here out of the dark, unconscious, wounded collective's energy, and bring it back to heaven on earth, where there is a state of paradise that can actually be materialized here on this physical earth plane. We become aware of where we're blocked and restricted, where it is that we feel trapped, where it is that we feel held back in Capricorn season. It's essentially the breakdown, okay? The mental breakdown, the emotional breakdown, in most cases, the physical breakdown. A lot of people are sick right now, like laid up on the couch, can't move. There's a lot of breaking down. And if you take a good look at the collective, there is a breaking down of society. There's a breaking down of power. There's a breaking down of geological structures. Okay. Now, I may as well just throw this in here because YouTube basically hates me anyways, but that's okay. People want to know about these fires. First of all, they're man-made. Second of all, they're part of an agenda. Third of all, are we really going to cry about the rich and famous? The rich and famous who basically decided to burn the evidence so that they aren't going to be thrown in the slammer with all of these high-profile, dirty people that you hear in the news. Let me also just say they are not that powerful if you don't realize that there is three-letter government agencies backing all of these individuals that many people look as celebrity idols. It is all an inside job, my friends. This is no different than the agenda that we watched unfold horribly, mind you, in Hawaii. This is no different than that. And if you want to, I'm going to be semi-cryptic here. If you want to talk about their smart agenda, that particular location has been nominated for one of the first smart cities that they want to be implementing. And you know that those people, now I'm also going to say this, not everybody there, not everybody who lost something is a celebrity, but they don't care about that. Their agenda is so narcissistic and so self-serving. They don't care about the innocent. They don't care about the civilians. You think those rich people don't have insurance? You think most of those rich people didn't know it was going to happen? You think most of those rich people that were a part of the darkness that is currently being exposed on the collective right now didn't have evidence in one form or another that was way easier to burn away than to try and hide? You think that they're not going to expose some shady ass shit, especially when it comes to the underground world that is existent in that particular area through the cleanup? Again, this is all man-made. This is all scripted. If you remember, if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, you would remember that I said we were going through a huge cleansing period, purification period, as far as this earth plane goes. Now, yes, Saturn and Pisces, we would have expected a water event. Well, this is the opposite of that because there legitimately was no water. Why is that? Well, because it was divinely scripted in order to expose the politicians that chose their own lined pockets over the absolute emergency resources that always need to be there in situations as such. If you think that the new incoming power in that particular area of the world would have done any differently, I'm sorry to say, but you have to realize they're all on the same side. And that particular power probably knew damn well that this particular scripted event was going to take place because they do those types of things in order to prove their point and expose the ugliness of their opposing adversaries. So they're all in it. They're all a part of it. They all got warnings about it. It's all a scripted event in order to push their agendas. And yes, some innocent people got caught up in it. Now, everybody wants to talk about, well, why are they doing this? Again, think about their long-term goals. Think about the long-term agendas. Think very smartly about why one would want to totally destroy a city. We've been talking about how to look at the existing structures and foundations of the realm and reality in which we've built and no longer be wanting that particular structure and foundation and want to build on that existing structure and foundation, but needing to do the demo work to remove the structure that is currently in existence to be there. There is no better way, no faster way to get rid of whatever is blocking the progress of that particular agenda and path than to literally have it burn to the ground into a pile of ash. So there is a lot of cleansing going on the face of this earth plane. There is going to be natural disasters. Now, was this natural? No, it was man-made. But at this particular juncture, nothing is natural because we live in a man-made world. The weather is fake, the food is fake, the air is fake, the events are fake, everything is fake. And they continue to do what they want to do at the cost of many people's lives, at the cost of people that do not have the same amount of money as the rich and famous, that do not have the insurance that the rich and famous do, that do not have the heads up from the evildoers that those rich and famous people do, that got caught up in a bad area. Now, if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, you would know that I have said that area and New York are literally the gates to hell as far as the, let's call it, Earth matrix goes. Those areas definitely, I'm not saying that this is a good thing, so please don't misunderstand me in that particular arena, but those areas definitely need to be destroyed in certain ways in order to have the chance to actually rebuild them in a better way. Now, are we going to have an option and opportunity to rebuild Hawaii in the best way and to rebuild, LA in the best way? No, because we're not in power. The evildoers are still in power. But nonetheless, we are watching in real life time how evil these people are. And I know that it's hard to stay in a happy-go-lucky place of energy when you're watching how deep and dark some of these people can be. But again, as a light worker, it's our job to observe how the energy is manifesting on the physical form and in the face of situations that should disgust us to absolute, levels of just disgust that we have never experienced before, We can't go there. We can't get angry. We can't get disgusted, because that would be playing in and feeding the beast that we're trying to destroy. And so we have to send love. We have to send empathy. We have to send compassion. We have to trust that there is a higher source, a higher power here, that this spiritual battle is not being lost. And although it may look like loss on the surface, we know that there is a greater, grander plan. That greater, grander plan is really hard to see. It's hard to trust. It's hard to believe in, specifically in Capricorn season. Why? Because it's an earth energy that is very connected to the ego realm, very connected to the materialistic realm, very connected to the earth realm. This is why the nodes of the moon shifting into that Pisces and Virgo axis is going to help us trust into something greater. Find a new divine power source to believe in, to create our inner realm around, so that it's not going to matter what kind of shit show they create on the physical earth plane. We have a spot to go within ourselves that not only renews and resurrects the most power, the most faith, the most love, the most trust within us, but also provides us a safe haven to escape to when this world requires us to run away from it. Now, that's the breakdown energy. Let's talk about the breakthrough energy. That's coming with Aquarius season, which we will be entering into here at the end of this week. The Aquarius energy takes the realizations that we had in Capricorn energy, where we're blocked, where we're challenged, where we're restricted, where we're trapped, and attempts to free us or liberate us from those particular realizations, from those particular aspects. Now, we do that in the Aquarius energy through a new level of awareness, a new level of consciousness. There is always a new wave of people that come online spiritually when we move through Aquarius season. And so when we move into Aquarius season, first of all, Uranus rules over that Aquarius season. Saturn is the traditional ruler. Uranus is the modern day ruler. And so what we are going to do is move into the highest form of our intelligence and receive downloads and insights from the higher realms of intelligence that is going to provide solutions, clarity, a path, a plan, a strategy on how the F we're going to get out of the situations that we are currently feeling suffocated under this Capricorn energy. So that is the breakdown Capricorn energy, what needs to stay, what needs to go, what is working, what isn't, what is holding us back, what is providing an encouraging support to move on and move forward, which is very limited at this time. And then we're going to move into the breakthrough energy, because again, when we see things differently, when we have a new level of awareness, when there is a new level of consciousness available to us, that changes our mental plane. It changes the way that we see the world. It changes the way that we see ourselves. And as I've been kind of, rambling on about, what goes on in our mental plane is what we manifest here in the physical realm. So there is going to be a lot of downloads, a lot of aha moments. There is going to be a huge amount of pressure in the head, but it's going to be a little bit dissociative, meaning we may just find ourselves in a dazed and confused state as we move through Aquarius energy, because again, we're not really present in the physical body. There's this detachment that we're able to kind of do, this disassociation that we're able to do, to act as the observer, to analyze the inner workings of our mind and how the workings of our mind and our focus and our inner dialogue and our inner narrative have created some of the situations and circumstances that we want to desperately break away from, but we feel trapped under and we don't know how to do it. And then we receive the downloads of intelligence on how it is that we're supposed to put a path, a plan, a strategy together so that we can eventually break free of the hold, of the restrictions, of the constructs that we're feeling trapped under. So that's going to be a beautiful energy. But when I say to you that this week is going to be a tough energy to navigate through as we intensify the problem areas. Why? Well, because we need to be very focused on what isn't working, where it is that, we have to change things up, where it is that, again, we're feeling trapped and restricted and blocked. We have to become very aware of that, because human nature, unless our back is against the wall, unless we're, suffering, we're not making any changes. And so we're really going to be put through the ringer, especially as we're going through this full moon in Cancer. And let me just remind you, this full moon in Cancer is directly related to a state of being that we were confused about, that we didn't know what to be doing this time last year, specifically in Cancer season when we had that new moon in Cancer. This is a continuation and a closure to that particular emotional chapter. That full moon is going to bring all of the not so nice thoughts and feelings to a head, to a boiling point, to a breakdown point. It is going to over exaggerate and totally exasperate where it is that we're feeling trapped, where it is that we're banging our head against the wall, where it is that we're up against some just impossible odds that we just don't know how we're ever going to overcome. And in the snap of the fingers, suddenly when we realize that, when we give into that, when we surrender to that, that's when clarity comes. So this next week is going to be extremely emotional, have us extremely frustrated, have us sitting in fears, doubts, and insecurities about what the F are we going to do in order to make our lives better until that clarity comes. And you best believe when that clarity comes and you have that major breakthrough, you're not going to feel the heaviness and the weight that you're currently feeling. And so we have to talk about the fact, let's just talk about the full moon for a second. It's happening on a Monday. The moon rules over Mondays. The moon is in her rulership in Cancer energy on a Monday. It's on the 13th. The 13 energy represents the divine feminine, which of course the Cancer energy also does. And that full moon in Cancer, because it is very connected to the heart space, to the chest, if you will, we're going to have a huge, let's call it, heart activation or chest activation in order to become so aware of where it is that we feel the weight of the world sitting on our chest space, that we can't breathe, that we can barely even swallow the lump in our throat at particular points in time. We have to become so aware of that to truly appreciate when that particular weight is alleviated off of us. And so heart activations could be, rapid heartbeats, could be a sense of grief. It could be, we'll call it acid reflux. There could be coughing fits in order to break up the phlegm that, of course, inside of us holds on to a lot of the pain and trauma that we go to great lengths in order to keep inside of us instead of releasing our emotions like we should. There's going to be a huge awareness of where it is that we feel suffocated. This is the energy that needs to happen in order to illuminate where it is that enough is enough. We've had enough. We're tired of this. We don't want to do this anymore. Again, back needs to be against the wall in order for us to boss up and make a change. And no, it's not going to feel good. No, it's not supposed to. But when I say to you that the breakthrough energy is going to be worth it, that's what you have to stay focused upon. So we've been talking about this water weight. Again, there's a lot of water in the cosmos. This full moon in Cancer energy is water energy. We've been noticing the puffiness in our face. We've been noticing the water weight that we've been collecting around our waist, even in our fingers. Our fingers are all puffy and kind of sore. The water weight is definitely going to make us feel like we are the Marshmallow Man in the Ghostbusters. We're going to feel puffy. We're going to feel overexpanded, if you will. And a lot of that is an indicator of how much emotion you're actually holding and trapping into your physical form and the release that is needed in order to get it out. So if you need to spend a whole day crying, you go right ahead, okay? Get the energy out of your body. Holding energy, especially emotional frustration, anger, hurt, grief, sadness in your body is a recipe for disease. This is a time for you to get out of your own damn way, get out of your head space, get in that heart space, feel all the feels, and get that energy out of you. Is it going to feel good? No. It's going to feel good after, though. I can promise you that. We have been trapping a lot of the residual pain and trauma in our physical bodies, and this is going to be a beautiful week to let that shit out. When you water earth, Cancer energy is water, Capricorn is earth. When you water earth, something grows. Yes, it gets muddy at the beginning until that water saturates that earth. Okay, you need to release the waterworks. You need to get that emotion out of your physical body. Let it spill onto that earth. Let it saturate that earth in order for growth to happen. We are going to have a lot of, I'm going to call them not so nice thoughts and feelings. Mercury, being in this Capricorn energy, does kind of err on the side of negativity and pessimistic options. Let's call them lenses, if you will, where nothing is right, everything is wrong. Where nothing is good enough, everything needs more work and improvement. Again, we're talking about our want, need, and desire to control everything, to be perfect at everything. And that in itself sounds like the South Node in Virgo, that we are now going to have 18 months of tough love life lessons to get away from. We need to stop living in the headspace. We need to start living in our physical bodies. And living in the physical body, most people don't want to do because their physical body is literally filled with a bunch of shit, literally and figuratively. What do I mean by that? When you do not do the healing work to address your emotions, when you do not do the healing work, the shadow work, to do a deep dive in your ego programming, to release the pain, the emotion, the trauma that you are storing in your cellular memory, it does not feel good to live in your body when your body is screaming of the pain and trauma of the past that you're trying to ignore. When you do the work to create a happy, safe, comfortable place in your physical body, it's easier to live in the present moment. If you're wondering how come you haven't been manifesting the goal, the vision, the dream that you've been holding on to for years and years and years, are you feeling it in your body or are you thinking about it in your head? Because if you're thinking about it in your head, you're not manifesting. You're living in your head space. You're creating a fantasy realm and you are not anchoring in the energy or emotion in the physical form that needs to be present in order to align with the vision, the vibration, the frequency of that desired outcome. So many people complaining, oh, I've been trying to manifest the same thing, the same person, the same job, the same house, the same whatever for like 2 years. Why haven't I been able to manifest it? And I say to them, well, how do you manifest? And people are like, oh, I meditate, I sit and I hold this vision in my dream. Okay, but do you feel it? And they say, what do you mean? Do you feel it? Do you feel how it would feel to be with the love of your life? Do you feel how it would feel in your body to have the dream of the house, the car, the partnership, the career, the money? Do you feel it in your body? They're like, no, I don't. Well, that's why you're not manifesting anything. You got to be present in the moment. And if you're in your headspace, you're not present in the moment. And if you're not feeling good, bad, and otherwise what is being offered to you in the physical body and you're not doing something about it to orient into the positive vibration, frequency, and emotions needed in order to manifest the desired outcome, then you are just, again, living in your headspace, trying to tell yourself that you're doing the work and you're not doing it. So that mental plane is definitely testing us. It's a test. We're in the year of 9. It's time to be tested. This is exam season. It is a tough test, and it all starts with the way that you're choosing to look at situations and circumstances. Does it feel good to not have the money available to you to do all the things that need to be done in life? No, it does not. But if you're sitting in fear, if you're sitting in the scarcity mindset, then you are only going to be manifesting situations of that. People know what it feels like to not have enough money to buy food. They know what it feels like to not have enough money to pay their bills. They know what it feels like to be in a position to maybe lose their home because they don't have those finances. They know what that feels like. Do you know what it feels like to not have to worry about those things? Most people don't know what that feels like. And so you have to put yourself in a vibration and a frequency that you can, I'm going to say, try to convince your mind of that you are experiencing. What does that mean? Okay, well, for me, I love watching animal videos. I think animal videos are the cutest things. I love animals more than I love humans, and I'm sorry to say that, but that is the truth. I think that watching animals, specifically dogs, I have a soft spot in my heart for dogs. I think watching dog videos brings me the most happiness and the most joy. And when I'm like laughing, like giddy, like, oh my God, that's so cute, that vibration and frequency, that's when I'm visualizing my desired outcome. Because I might not know what it feels like to be a millionaire, but I know what it feels like to love something so freaking much that my voice gets high and I'm just excited to be able to watch the cute dogs, right? So when I match that vibration and then suddenly flip on the vision in my mental plane, I am now experiencing a positive emotion in my physical body that I'm matching with the visual of my desired outcome. And lo and behold, the next day I get booked out for services. There's the money that I'm asking for. Am I a millionaire overnight? No, nobody's going to be. This isn't about setting yourself up with such great big goals to go from rags to riches overnight. That's not how you manifest. This particular mindset is beautiful for manifesting if you can get out of your own damn way. The Capricorn energy is so freaking powerful for manifesting. Saturn is the ruler there. That is karma. But as long as you got your mind in the gutter, focused on all the things that weren't working, focused on where you feel trapped, focused on scarcity mindset, you're only inviting, because you're sitting in that energy. Everybody knows what anxiety feels like. Everybody knows what fear feels like. Everybody knows what sadness and grief feel like. When you sit in that and you're hoping, I hope that I get a new job that gives me new money, but you're sitting in the scarcity mindset, you are just asking the universe to give you another shitty job that isn't going to provide for you, that is going to invoke the same type of situations and circumstances so that you can feel this exact same feeling. So everybody's just a little bit confused, I'd say, on how to actually manifest and how to actually break out of your neural pattern and how to actually focus on the desired outcome and invoke an emotion that would actually support wanting to bring that vision, goal, and dream to life. Everybody's a little bit confused about that. I hope that moving into this year of 9, which is supposed to be rooted in spirituality and wisdom and knowledge, and I hope that the North Node moving into Pisces energy is going to encourage people to do the work within themselves, to clear out the junk and gunk of their physical body so that they're not running away from the present moment all the time. I hope that is going to be the major life lesson, collectively speaking, of what this North Node in Pisces is supposed to be for this next 18 months. Because until we as light workers can perfect the manifesting deal in our own individual lives, we don't stand a chance in hell of overriding these evil overlords. We just don't. How are you supposed to bring heaven on earth, paradise to this earth plane through the manifestation process if you can't even get out of your own head and get out of your own damn way? So that is my hope for the next 18 months. Is it hard on the head? Yes. Are we going to have physical manifestations of the energy in our headspace? 100%. That moving headache, that feeling like you just, smacked your head off a wall, and the resounding, like dull ache, dull bump, bump, bump of hitting your head, that's going to be present. It's going to be, again, very challenging, very hard to rewrite the narrative with something positive, but we are in a testing period. You're either going to pass or you're going to fail, and that's only going to be up to you. With that, though, there's a lot of heat in the head. It can feel very much like our head is boiling, like our head is popping off. You may actually have a fever. Maybe you don't have a fever, but your skin is just running hot. There's a redness, a flushness to the face. It feels like there is this muffled, I want to call it clicking, but it's not really clicking. It's like a... I don't even know how to explain it. Won't taking place in one of our ears. That's how I'm going to explain that. If I can't put it into words, I'm going to put it into a similar sound. And I just feel like the pressure, specifically in one side of the body over the other, is going to create this won't in the ear. Now, this won't in the ear also stems off of the phase that we moved into last week, where there's a high level need for detox. We've been working on the lymphatic system in order to make sure that those channels, that particular channel of trying to get rid of the toxicity in our physical body, is open, is healthy, is moving with ease, okay? We have to make sure that when we're especially doing the emotional and energetic work on ourselves, that the actual systems in our body that remove gunk and junk from our physical form are actually working properly, so that we're not releasing all of this toxicity, all of this heavy energy, all of this emotion in our body, and then it just stays trapped. You have to open the channels in order to get this energy out. And the lymphatic system, specifically from the shoulders up, because right now there's a lot of weight on our shoulders due to just the responsibility that we feel here in Capricorn season. There's a lot of pressure on the neck. That's gumming up the throat. There's a lot of pressure in our throat space, pressure in the head space. We are just being overwhelmed at this particular juncture with where a mentee B / emotional breakdown kind of needs to happen in order to have this release, this removal of this energy that is junking up the pathways and therefore opening us up to receiving creative solutions, receiving intuitive insights, receiving downloads of clarity on where it is that we need to go from here. We can't receive it right now. You're confused as F right now because you're holding on to the junk and the gunk of the past. Again, you often hear me like repeating myself like, oh, we have to remove the old before we can build the new. This is what I'm saying. It manifests in a lot of different ways. You need to be removing the old ways of acting, the old ways of projecting, the old ways of going throughout your day in order for a new routine to actually have the place to be built. You have to remove the old emotions, the old memories, the old perspectives in order for the new emotions, the new perspectives, the new solutions to actually have a place to enter into your auric fields. And so, yes, it gets hella repetitive, but at the same time, there is pressurized systems that move at certain, placements in the astrology wheel, and this is one of them. We have this, so the muffle in the ear, there is going to be a situation where you could think that you have an earache or an ear infection. And again, most of those answers are lymphatic massage. There's too much fluid, too much toxicity, specifically with this full moon in Cancer taking place. Again, the water weight, the puffiness that we're kind of holding on to, that is energy and emotion looking to be released. So we have to do something about that. Even still, even though we have this muffle wah, wah, wah in our ear, there's this itchiness in our inner ear as well. Why? Because itchiness indicates healing. So you're going to say, well, how can we have all this pressure and all this pain and all this discomfort and yet have indicators of healing? Well, because you're aware of it. Being aware of it is the first step of being able to do something differently about it. And so when we have manifestations of aches and pains in our physical body, highlighting the ascension symptoms, it draws awareness to that part of the body. Okay, so we're talking about the ears for a second. So what is it that I'm either not wanting to hear, or what is it that I'm needing to hear that I'm not hearing? What is it that I'm choosing to ignore? Or what is it that I'm looking for so desperately that I wouldn't even see it if it slapped me in the face? Because these are all indicators. Our whole bodily system is connected to an energetic action, if you will. So when we have these, let's call them heart chakra activations, it's because there's a certain sadness, a certain grief that is rising to the surface of your awareness, again, bringing, rapid heartbeats or chest pains or acid reflux, whatever the case may be. Suddenly you're paying a lot more attention. What happens when you have situations, you start rubbing your chest? What does rubbing do? Well, it stimulates that particular energy. What does it also do? It also soothes. That's why I always say you got to be tapping. You can tap with a positive affirmation to tell yourself that you're safe and secure and that you're ready to let go and release anything that is no longer serving you. It brings attention to that particular area of the body for you to do a deep dive on what the energy behind that particular, let's call it manifestation of discomfort, is trying to teach you. So our ears, we're definitely picking up on, let's call it, the audible sound spectrum that we weren't able to access earlier on. Again, we've gone through a sensory upgrade. There is a lot going on in the physical realm that we just don't want to hear about. We are tired of hearing people talk about the same old shit. We are tired of hearing the same old shit. We are tired of not hearing good news. And therefore, there's a lot of energy, a lot of focus on the ears. That inner ear itch is going to feel like you want to drive a pen right through your ear and scratch the innermost part of your brain. Please don't do that. It's very dangerous. I do not recommend it. However, that is the energy. And what is happening in that inner ear, that itchiness behind your brain, is your pineal gland. Okay? Your pineal gland is being activated. It's expanding in order to allow your third eye to expand, in order to allow your crown to expand so that you can become more connected to the collective, receiving wisdom, knowledge, insights on not only how to bring heaven on earth, but how to make your heaven, your individualized heaven on earth, be the major focus first and foremost. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and then I'm probably going to wrap it up here, So it's not necessarily leg cramps. It's not necessarily tremors or Charlie horses. But you know, when sometimes you get up and maybe you were sitting for a while, yeah, there could be pins and needles, that sensation. But mostly it feels like something's not in alignment. Like you walk around and you're like, what is it? Like, do I need to like pop my, kneecap, or, does something need to click? It's going to feel like you're not in alignment, like something's off, like something slipped, like a muscle is just holding in the wrong position, or a bone is rubbing against something that it shouldn't be rubbing against. When I say to you that it feels very uncomfortable, in order to illuminate where it is that something is not aligned, please understand that when we talk about the lower extremities, specifically the hips down, we're talking about our ability to feel safe, secure, and stable here on the physical earth plane in advancing ourselves in order to, again, strengthen the structure and the foundation that, again, makes us feel safe and secure. When you feel like something is out of place or unaligned, take a good look at where you feel out of place, where there's an unalignment taking place within you. What does that mean? Maybe your heart and your head are having at it. Maybe your heart wants to do something and your head is just like, no, that makes no sense. There's no logical, practical way that we can do that. So your heart and your head, not in alignment. Maybe your inner realm, the inner realm of emotion and thoughts aren't aligning with the actions in which you're taking in the physical realm. Maybe your dream, your goal, your vision in your inner realm is such in conflict with the physical realm in which you've built that you feel uncomfortable in your own skin. Either way, there is a unaligned part of you that needs attention. And again, this is going to feel very weak in our knees, feel very unstable on our own 2 feet, because that's the energy that many of us are feeling right now. We don't feel safe. We don't feel secure. We don't feel stable. We don't feel certain about what is coming at us in this next chapter. Again, it's almost as if we need to bring awareness to where it is that we're not feeling stable in our own lives, in our own selves, in our own energy. Again, feeling that limitation, feeling that restriction, feeling that it doesn't feel good, so that when the Aquarius energy moves in and we're downloaded with a brand new level of consciousness, a brand new level of awareness, suddenly we're going to be able to analyze the parts of self that are unaligned and make the adjustment very quickly to get in alignment so that we can operate from a sense of wholeness, operate from our complete selves. So guys, I know that's a lot. I know that it always is. I know that sometimes it's repetitive. I know that sometimes it feels like I just deliver bad news and bad news and bad news. But let me just remind you, the energies are difficult, are tough, are challenging, are thick, because the universe is at a very pivotal point right now where, again, we have not gotten this far in the video game, where the spiritual war is alive and well. And the best thing to do is to try and convince your opposition, which is us light workers, that we're losing, that you may as well just give up. Look at all the shit shows going on Earth right now. You guys aren't winning. You guys should just sit this one out. Save yourself. We are not going to be fooled by the illusions in which they are going to great lengths to create. All is not bad, okay? It's all the way that you choose to see it, and I choose to see it as a direct challenge for me to boss up, to do better, to be better, and to make sure that this war is won by the people that deserve to win. And I know that you all are going to be with me on the battlefield, linking arms to make sure that that shit happens. So I thank you so much for tuning in. I send you so much love, and we'll talk to you soon.